What's good, everybody? This is Noor Hussain Warshi from Learn to Link. So in this video, we will be talking about what is a correlated subquery. So let's get started. So here I am on my Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio and I've got two tables. One is the employee table and another one is the department table. So before proceeding further with the correlated subquery, now let me tell you that what this correlated subquery is. And just to make it pretty simple for you people, it is very visible from its name that it is a subquery that is correlated with an outer query. So in a moment, we'll see what is outer query and what is inner query. So I have got these two tables right in front of me, which has these one is the employee table and one is the department table. In the department table, I have got two columns: department ID, department name. And for the employee table, I have got these five columns: employee ID, employee name, salary, department ID, manager ID, and department name. So my supervisor comes in and he asks me that since we are collecting the records for the HR department, so I want to know all of the details of the employee of the departments. So what we need to do, we need to find all the details of employees working in departments. So with the help of correlated subquery, I'll execute it in a way that I want to know the details of employees working in department. Select all from, now we need to know from the department. Where exist. Now this where clause, I'm connecting it with the exist connector first. So first I'll write the query and then I'll explain it to you guys. Now I'm starting to write my inner query, that is correlated. Select all from employee where employee dot department ID, because as you can see that my employee table has the department ID column and also my department table has the department ID column. So with these two columns which are common in between, they will basically help into correlated two of the tables by using the correlated subquery. So I'm just typing it and then I'll explain it to you. So here I have written my complete query. So now I'll explain it to you how SQL is executing this correlated subquery. So I want to know all the details of employees working in department. For that I type the query select star, which means all from department, this department table. Where clause, now I'm typing the where clause and then this exist connector. So basically this exist connector is connecting this inner query with this outer query. You can use the conditional operators like greater than, equal to, but I'll just use the exist connector over here. And for this exist connector, I've also made a video and I'll put the link in the description. You can go watch that video too, that is related to the exist connector. So what I want to know, where exist, what I am typing in this subquery, let's see this. Select star from employee where employee dot department ID. So see, this employee table has the department ID, as I already told you before. So basically this is the you can say that a connector which we are using to connect these two departments with this similar column in between. Like you will be asking me, like, is there any other way? There are hundred of ways solving the queries in SQL, but since we are specifically talking about the correlated subquery, so I'm just executing in this way that it will use the correlated subquery. Now to even more simplifying it, I'll explain it to you how SQL is treating this query. So the SQL is executing this query in a way that first it will run the outer query, which is select all from department. For each row of this department table, this inner query will run every time. I'll show you what. In my outer query, I have this department table. So for my each row of the department table, SQL will run every record of my employee table. So when I executed this query, it is now showing me that these are the departments in which there are employees. So if you remember previously we had 8 departments, but now it's just showing me 6 departments in which there are employees. So I'm going back to my these two tables. So SQL is treating this query in a way that for each record of my department table which is on my outer query, because the SQL will first run the outer query first, in which we have the department table, and then it will go to the employee table. So for each row of my department table, it will run on every single record. So for if SQL come over here, it see that department name and department ID, that is the IT department. It now go over here and it see yes, IT department has the employee. It go now again finance check whether IT department is coming over here. No IT department. No, yes, again IT department, and here again no, there's no one. Then SQL will execute this row over here, and now it will check in my employees table that whether the security department has any employee or not. So first it ran this row, and then it went again over here that the department name IT, we want the security department, whether the security department has employee. It ran with this row. No, yes, the security department has the employee, so it will run accordingly. Now moving forward to another example for the correlated subquery, and I also want to tell you that it is a top to down approach. How that first it is executing this first row and then it is moving downwards. So with the with this single record of this department table, it is running again and again multiple times on my employee table. So I'm doing another example for you people. So here we have the department table. Again we got department table, department ID. So now my supervisor comes in and asks me that find the employee whose salary is greater than the average salary earned by the employee of that department. So we want to find the employee whose salary is greater than the average salary earned by the employee of that department. So now we need to focus on the problem statement. We want to know the average salary earned by the employee of the department, and then we will compare it with the employee of the same department whose salary is greater than the average salary. Now first I'll type the query and then I'll explain it to you. So I have written the query over here. Now let's see what it says and how SQL is executing this query. So I type select all from employee. I give it the alias E1 where salary is greater than. Now we are coming to the inner query, which is a correlated subquery. Select average salary from employee. Now you can use it with the join as the self join as well, the group by, but since we are talking about correlated subquery, so we'll execute it accordingly. So from the employee table, I gave it the alias E2 where the where clause E2, this employee table has the department name. Also, now this is the interesting part. This E1, this alias belongs to my outer query table. So How SQL will treat this? The SQL will treat this query in a way that it consider this query table and this query table as two separate tables. Since it is one table, but this is the way of SQL treating the correlated subquery. So to SQL, this is a separate table and this is a separate table because we have given here the different alias, which is E1 and E2. So we know that in an employee table E1 we have the department name, and also we know that the employee table E2 has this department name. So through this is basically the hook between the inner subquery and the outer subquery. So you can say that this inner subquery is dependent through this alias on the outer query. So I'll execute it. So now I have got the list of the employees whose salaries are greater than the average salary earned by all the employees. So these are the five employees of finance, HR, IT, marketing, and from security department who have the salary greater than the average salary earned by all the employees. So that was all from my side. If you have learned something from the video, a thumbs up would be really appreciated, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon. Take a very good care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.